What's up, guys? So I want to do a quick video on the concept of superficiality and using your money to court girls. And so more so than that though, I want to talk about the topic of using your prestige or your accomplishments to do something similar. And that is where the lines blur. It's no longer black and white, and it's sort of gray, and there's no real right or wrong, or no real way to point the finger and call that person bad anymore. And so I'll illustrate that with just one example, if not two. And before that though, I do want to address that there's a difference between using your money, your straight out money, to court someone versus using your accomplishments and so forth. And as for the money portion, I personally don't like it. I know there are people out there who do it. In fact, I recently did 2 videos on 2 people who very blatantly do it, Justin Ross Lee and Dan Bilzerian. Justin requested me to do it, Dan did not, and basically they both shared the videos on some sort of social hierarchy. So if you guys were wondering where all those views came from, there you go. And so I recently learned that both of them got a good deal of their money from inheritance, if not all of it. Dan not so much, but I didn't know that when I was talking in the video. Anyhow though, my opinions on that, it's unfortunately, maybe it's just my upbringing. Like I can't really say that there's a right or wrong for that. As of right now, I just couldn't do it. Even if I had the money, it would just seem really filthy, and I wouldn't be happy doing it. So that's just how I feel for that, and I detest it, and I don't think it's right. But let's finish up on that, and let's get to using accomplishments and prestige. And this is where the lines sort of blur. For accomplishments and prestige, these can be anything from doing something in school, or your social hierarchy, or more so than that, having a bunch of followers on Twitter or on Twitch. I'll give you one clear example. There's a streamer, he plays League of Legends, and basically he has like God knows how many followers on his streaming channel. And so each time he streams the game, he gets like 1,000 to 3,000 viewers on, and there's all these, his chat is flooded, and he's got like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and so forth. That could be viewed as an accomplishment of prestige or whatever. And so all these things sort of come together, and unfortunately, I think I'm going to call him out, but I think he's a good enough sport to know that I'm not really trashing him. I'm just using him as an example. He recently asked his girlfriend out officially. That means like asked her out to be her girlfriend, out publicly live on his stream. So basically thousands of people watched it happen. And so his name's GrowScore. You can search him up if you want. And he did that recently on his stream. He did a video of it. And there's that thing though. Before that event, he had oftentimes introduced his girlfriend to the stream and all the viewers he had. Was he showing off? Partially, but he wasn't doing it in a cocky, arrogant way. And you can't really not show off that. Like, even if you just mention it, like, at the same time, like, people are going to, like, no matter who you are, your ears are going to perk up. You're like, oh, this guy's he's pretty more accomplished than the average Joe. He has this YouTube channel. He's making a lot of money from streaming and so forth. And so you can't help but be influenced by these things. And so that's where the lines blur. And so it's like, it begs the question of, was it immoral to do that? Was it superficial to do that? Do you think this girl would have liked this guy, GrowScore, if he did not have this Twitch audience and this YouTube audience and so forth. And you can't help but be influenced by these things. And I'm sure the girlfriend was, and I'm sure that's partially one of the reasons why she liked this guy. And so that's where it sort of falls apart. Like, people don't really disassociate the two, between money and these sort of accomplishments. And differentiating the two is very important, because there's a bunch of rich guys who cannot, and so they hide any sort of accomplishment or any sort of indication of money, because they're searching for that non-gold digger. And it just becomes like the girl looks at this guy and he's just an average Joe. And so my personal opinions on it currently, as of the current moment, is that accomplishments are different from money. And showing off your accomplishments is part of life, and it's good. And the girl knowing that, it's not superficial to that extent. It sort of blurs when you define what accomplishment is, but it's completely different from something like, for instance, Justin Ross Lee, what he does, which is he literally just takes his dad's money, I guess, and blows it on very expensive stuff, from clothing to alcohol to drinks and so forth. And if that's what his dad wants for him, and if that's what he wants, that's fine. But again, personally, that could lead to, at the end of the day, not as much satisfaction or peace with yourself as you want. Unless, of course, something in your gene just prevents you from not being satisfied with that. Anyhow, for me at least, I think, again, expressing your accomplishments, and again, we'd have to define each accomplishment, because again, an accomplishment could be literally anything, such as, oh, I have all this money, my dad gave it to me and I inherited it, and I bought a yacht. That's an accomplishment. Not in my book, okay? That is just spending money. And so accomplishments, in my opinion, would be something like becoming an NBA All-Star, or establishing a Twitch audience with 30,000 people and so forth. And like it or not, I've talked to a few people about this, girls included, a couple, one or two people, maybe three, and it seems to be clear to me that no matter what, people are going to be influenced by these sort of things. An accomplishment is becoming a doctor. It's not an easy task. Sure, there's that attachment of wealth to it, but regardless of that, even if you ignore that, becoming a doctor is not easy. There's like less than 10% acceptance rate to med school. Then med school is very hard to keep along with, and you gotta apply to residency school and you can't make it, and it's like 10 years of your life. So these are accomplishments, from climbing Mount Everest and doing these sort of things. And if I feel like it's something that should be let out there, and you shouldn't feel insecure about it. And sure, there's a little bit of gray, but I think at least my current opinion is that those are things that really differentiate you from the average Joe. And hiding those things can in fact just make you like the average Joe. And I feel like people will confuse that if they don't understand the concept. And there's probably rich people out there who don't understand it, and so it can really muck things up. And so I mean, it's kind of stupid, because I mean, not a lot of you guys are going to be like super rich or anything, but it is something to take into account. Even if you're not rich, middle class in America is still rich to some people. And so like, you don't have to be rich to not want a girl who just likes you for your money, or finds a lot of your attraction to you simply because of your money. and that might not satisfy a lot of people out there. And so one way to differentiate that is you can hide the fact that you're rich or that you have wealth without hiding your accomplishments. And if you hide your accomplishments as well, that can really screw you up, because then how exactly can you differentiate yourself from the average person? You can't. And therefore, what reason do they have to really like you more than the other guy? And it goes both ways for both genders. I love my female audience. Obviously, the percentage of that is shrinking, unfortunately. I would say about 40%. But I love my female audience, and just a shout out to them. You can reverse the gender roles, and it works the same thing. And so, you know, again, I've talked about this in my other videos. One other way to just negate this is just, I don't know, marry someone just as rich and successful as you. But again, these are things down the line, and it's not just marrying, it's dating and so forth. And I think the big thing is that you have to believe that you don't have to be rich or, you know, flaunt all these things or do all these things to get someone amazing in your life. However, I think it does make sense, and it's a practical and pragmatic thing for, you know, females' ears to perk up, or for them to have a little bit more liking to someone who's more interesting, or has more interesting stuff going on in their life, or have accomplished more. It's just, you know, the success rubs off, everyone benefits, and that's how it works. So it's kind of strange how that thing works, but it is what it is. And I think the biggest message, though, because I think a lot of people may misinterpret this as to, oh, I gotta get all these accomplishments, these medals and trophies or whatever, and, you know, flaunt them off to the girl. I don't think that's the case. I don't think you should, like, I think the best case is the ideal man. He has all these things, but he doesn't mention them unless he's asked. And you know, accomplishments in life, I think it's something more so for yourself, for your self-fulfillment and feeling proud about yourself than others. But I think enriching your life it's a great thing, and it'll make you a better person for other people as well as for yourself. And so this doesn't mean, you know, go out there and flaunt it, or like say, you know, immediately start showing off and expressing and telling the person all you have, because that oftentimes can produce the exact opposite. It's funny because it can kind of show the girl that you have low self-esteem deep down, or you're insecure in some way or other, or you're really nothing and you're just trying to put on this fake show of all these achievements to impress the girl. Because if you look at it, the greatest, most successful people do not go about constantly flaunting their stuff to others. That's all I really want to say. As always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later. Peace.